What up, y'all? What up? What up? What up? Facts in the Fitness here. We are welcoming a new topic today, the boost of boxing. All right, we're going to talk about the trend of boxing and how relevant and trendy the use of boxing has become in the fitness industry today. We got our own special guest who is actually a host of this show on the regular, my man Cam, the botanist boxing regular here. He comes. Yo, Cam.
Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up?
What up? What up?
Not much, man. Fucking ate
Yo.
had a big dinner, man. I'm feeling it.
Oh yeah. After this, I'm gonna get the chowing down, man. I was gonna eat before this, but I would probably fell asleep.
I think I made that mistake, man, of eating before. Jeez.
Yeah. So I was just telling
Um,
everybody, like I said, the topic for today is the boost of boxing, and we basically want to
so,
talk about the new trend of boxing due to its relevance and importance in the fitness industry. How it's gaining some ground with group fitness classes and just basically personal training, and then professional too. Because boxing obviously is still has its heights today in the professional world, and there's a lot of chaos going on with that right now.
yeah, man.
Interesting, So yeah. Um,
Um,
so
no, you're
basically,
absolutely right.
that is our topic for today: the boost of boxing. We're going to be covering a lot of ground with that. As you guys know, Cam used to fight professionally, and he works at a boxing gym right now. So pretty much, he's going to be running the show today. Nice special episode run by him today. So make sure you guys tune in. If you're not tuned in yet, we're going to have this saved on the YouTube. And also be a full episode will be here on the Instagram after we finish here. So let's get
IG.
right into it with our first question, Cam. What
Oh,
made you get into boxing?
hey, man. All right. I'll start from the beginning. I'll try to keep it short, though, because it could be a lengthy one. But now I'll tell you how I got started. So, let's see. When I was little, like I always liked the idea of like martial arts, kung fu movies and stuff like that. And I was always watching them kung fu flicks. Um, so I always liked fighting, like not for the violence of it, but more
Yeah.
for like the art form of it and stuff like that. So that was something I was always interested in. I took karate when I was little, took taekwondo, all that stuff. Um, Years later, of course, in
Yep.
high school and stuff like that, I picked up wrestling senior year. Um, and with wrestling, I was more interested in the type of conditioning and shape they would put us, the conditioning they would put us through and then the
Yeah.
shape I got into. So in between the end of my senior year after I graduated of high school and then going to West Virginia, I decided to go to one of it was LA Boxing back in the day, LA Boxing gyms, and that's where they would do the group boxing classes, which we'll get into a little bit later. I actually went to one of those, and I actually picked up kickboxing first. Believe it or not, bro. It was kickboxing, man. I was throwing kicks and everything. I only did it for about a month. Like I said, I only had that
Yeah.
short time between high school and then finally departing for college actually. So I did it for a month, and I'm not going to say I did it to a point where I learned anything that stuck with me. I learned like the basic stance and whatnot. I
With
learned to throw a
Hassan,
couple
he just
kicks.
shouted out Big Red Wrestling. Yeah.
Hey,
I just want to hit right now.
yes sir. What up, Hassan? That was the captain right there, man. But shout out to Hassan, yeah. Um, but yeah, it was that type of wrestling shape that kind of intrigued me to keep staying in that shape. So when I went to school, um, that I come to find out that West Virginia had a boxing team, man. They had open practices and stuff like that. I'm like, you know what? Let me check that out.
Mm.
Um, so I went and I went to the first couple practices, and I was just watching some of the guys back then. Like when I first started, the team was a very, very small, tight knit group of guys. It was like maybe 4 or 5 guys. Um, and they were all experienced fighters, which was a benefit for me because I could really learn from some of like the guys that knew what they were doing already. I had a good team to learn from. And then I tell you this, I tell the story all the time. I'm gonna shout out my guy Ian Shaw. He was the captain. He was the first captain I had for the boxing team. And if you looked at this cat, he's probably, I think he fought 145 pounds. He was 145.
Hmm.
And if you looked at him, you'd be like, yeah, you wouldn't guess this dude could fight in any type of way. Like
Yeah,
I
man.
think he
You know,
was,
I learned from wrestling, man. Like, Mr. Bark, obviously Haas knows who's 200
yeah,
now. He
yep,
used to always try to get me wrestling in the off season during football and everything. And, due to the whole like the weight loss thing, I couldn't do it. It would kill me due to like what I
right,
played in football and everything. But like, dude, the littlest jokers will have you. They will toss your ass around that room.
right.
Like,
He was right.
it's crazy. That shit, I'm like, yo, you get the littlest dude. Literally just like little lethal motherfucker, man. Like,
Yo, it's the truth. And I remember, like you said, Coach Haas, super skinny dude, but I think he was state champion a couple of times, man.
yeah,
He would do what you want him to. But it was the same case for this guy, Ian Shaw. I think he was an engineering major, man. If you looked at him, he was maybe like five, he was short, like 5'2" or something like that. And I remember one time after practice, he had a fight coming up. So, we went through practice and then, our coach was always there. He would,
yeah.
he would tell us what to do in practice and whatnot, facilitate practice basically. And he put on the pads. He was getting Ian ready for a fight. He's going to give him some extra pad work and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Ian put on his gloves. Coach put on like the body vest. He was holding the mitts. I've never seen Coach really hold the mitts before. And this dude Ian, he caught out the combination. He was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
he was tearing the coach up, and I was like, yo, for real? Like you fight like that? And I realized I'm like, man, you could just. And you said it before, like you can never really. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Never
you know,
underestimate your opponent, man.
never,
That's
man,
especially boxing or basically wrestling, all that UFC stuff, man. Because all it takes is
never.
one slip up, man.
One
You
slip
get
up.
caught, and it's over.
Bro, and after that, after I saw that, like that one time I saw him, hit miss with coach, I was like, I need to do this, man. Like
Yeah.
I'm hooked. I'm hooked, and I saw him fight. He was destroying people, man.
Yeah.
And you would never know if you looked at this dude. So doing that made me want to continue with it, and I did. Man, Ian Shaw, shout out to Ian Shaw, man.
Yeah. Shout out to Ian, man. Hope you're still beating people up out there. Yeah.
I don't know what he doing. If he watching this, he gonna kill me though.
All right. All right. So with the next question, why do you think boxing has become like so popular over the years, and basically with the whole, like professionally, and basically with the whole fitness world? Why do you think it's becoming more popular nowadays?
Man, because it's a great workout, man. For anybody that has done boxing, in a class setting or one on one with a personal trainer, I think they can attest to any of the things I'm saying right now about how good of a workout is.
Yeah.
Um, it's a sport that anyone can do. You can take it to any type of level you want to,
Mm.
and anyone can do it. You can start off as a kid. You can go all the way up. My oldest client is 76 years old. He's been
Yeah.
boxing, for the majority of his life, and he still goes hard, man. We'll
Yeah.
do 3 minute rounds, 30 seconds each. We'll do like 12 of them. He'll just go through it, and it's something that you can carry with you, the rest of your life. Once you learn boxing, it's going to stick
Yeah.
with you, the rest of your life. So I think a lot of other gyms and stuff are catching on, because you can teach it in a group setting,
Yeah.
and especially there's different levels to it too. You have like the fitness boxing that really doesn't get into the technique too much.
Yeah.
You'll stand there and throw punches with weights and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
is effective. Then you have some of the classes where you're actually hitting bags and stuff like that, which anyone can do. So I think, like I said, a lot of gyms are catching on because it is such a great workout, and it's always been used as like cross training too. From what I've known, some of the athletes I've worked with at West Virginia, I had some of the football guys come over, and they would hit miss with me for a little bit, just to
Yeah.
get a different workout in. So yeah, man, it's growing.
Cool, cool, cool. And then, so I always, when I go into these, gyms and these fitness centers, uh, you see a lot of women in these classes, and
Yes, sir.
yeah. So why do you think women are so drawn to this style of training? If it comes to the whole boxing and whatnot, like what do you think that it goes through their mind, or basically why do you think they're so like easily attached to the boxing? Because I know you have group fitness classes at your gym right now, and you have a ton of women in the classes. Like
Yeah.
what type of feedback did you get, or basically the vibes you get from the women and seeing from them, over the years and throughout your course of your career with women being involved with this style of training?
Man, it's crazy because like those classes I teach, I would say my gym is probably 85% women.
Yeah.
We have a couple guys. My morning class I do, I probably have maybe 20 people in there at a time, and two of those are guys. The rest are women. And
Hmm.
and I'll add this is another reason why I think a lot of women do it too. Kickboxing as well. We do boxing and
Yeah.
kickboxing. But one of the things I think it is you don't need a lot of strength to box. You don't need to be super strong or anything like
Yeah.
that. Um, if you get the proper technique down and you learn some combinations, it's definitely a confidence builder. And like I said, boxing, it's one of those things, if you learn it, it's going to stick with you. So it does boost your confidence, no matter who you are. Um,
Hmm.
Man, women, you learn how to, you get a sense of confidence when you know how to properly strike and stuff like that. And then as far as like the kickboxing side, this is the question I've always asked women too, and they've expressed to me because I would ask them like whether they like better boxing or kickboxing. A lot of them say kickboxing for the reason that they think their legs are stronger than their arms, which
Yeah.
I can see which makes sense. So they like kicking. Some like kicking, some don't. Yeah, I don't like kicking at all, man. That's why I switched to boxing, bro. I can't be doing that kicking stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I think it's a confidence builder. It relieves a lot of stress. A lot of people use, this might just be a general thing for most gyms anyway. It's an escape from the outside world, coming in, hitting a bag, releasing stress, whatever anger you have. So
Yeah.
and that's not doesn't always have to be something that pertains just to women, everybody, but
Yeah.
uh, it's a big stress reliever for a lot. So I think that's a couple of the key reasons why I think it gets pretty popular with women. Um,
Cool.
so
Cool. Cool. Um, so with that, with the whole women in the classes and whatnot, I'm gonna just switch over to the male standpoint. Why don't you feel like men aren't in the classes? What, like, do
hey,
you think they might think it's too corny, it's too soft, or like I look like a little bitch in a class full of women? They just what I'm saying, that's how most guys are probably thinking. Like, I can't go to that
yeah,
class. Number of women in there.
it was crazy, bro, because the workout, no matter who you are, it's difficult.
Yeah.
I find when we have male prospects come through the door, the first thing they usually ask is if we train fighters. Like
Yeah.
that's where their mindset's at. So
Yeah.
for women, it's more of the workout. For men, it's more they want to learn how to fight, like get in the ring
Yeah.
and spar and stuff like that. We get a lot of those, man. And not to knock on the guys, but a lot of them,
Yeah, it's just like, have you fought before? Like, no, no, no. It's like,
exactly.
yeah, like,
They come in, some of the first things they say, or one of the first things they say, "Do you guys spar here?" So my response is usually, "Well, have you ever sparred before?" And they go, "What's that?"
yeah.
And it's just
I'm
like,
like, yeah,
man,
he just put a helmet on, and he gonna get his head knocked off. And it's like, come
right,
on,
right.
come on. It's
So
pretty hilarious, man.
it is, and I think a lot of guys they look to do that. They just don't want to hit the bag because like you said, it probably is a sense of you know, it's not as macho to hit a bag as it would be to get in the ring and actually fight
Yeah,
somebody, which they're not ready for. So that's honestly why I think a lot of guys we don't have as many guys as girls.
yeah,
And I think too, just a lot of guys they tend to I think they work out on their own a lot more. Um, if they want to do something, they usually just go to the gym and lift weights and whatnot. They're not
hmm,
really into a lot of cardio. And that's what our classes are kind of based around, a lot of cardio, like hit workouts and stuff like that,
Yeah,
high heart rate and stuff like that. And I just, this is me first. I don't think a lot of guys are interested into that unless they have like a real concrete goal of like dropping weight and stuff like that. So
yeah,
um, yeah, more women, less guys. The guys want to be fighters. The girls just want to work out.
yeah. Yeah. Like it's just funny, like how I see that all the time with the guys. Just like there's always usually one older guy in there that's just like having the time of his life.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right, man. And I thought it's funny you said that too, because we got this one guy that always takes the morning classes. He's like 66 years old. He's been boxing, like
yeah,
all his life,
yeah,
and he just goes in there, he grinds, like
yeah.
he's having a great time. He just don't care what's going on around him. He just does the class, he boxes, and he has a great time. Um, but I said those are few and far in between.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, let's take a nice little switch over here.
All
We're
right,
gonna
all
go
right.
the professional side of boxing.
Here we
All
go,
right, so
man. Here we
yeah,
go.
here we go. Here we go. For all my professional fans out there, um,
Die hard fans.
me and you go back and forth with like with Gervonta and Farmer and
Tank.
all them guys. Yeah, yeah. Me personally, I'm just waiting for Tank to get his damn head knocked off, man. I'm getting tired of his cocky ass, man.
Yeah,
But what's your take on the current situation with professional boxing? Like obviously the shit has changed since the prime years of past boxers, even when like Floyd was in it and this and that. Like, do you think like professional boxing today is like really worth it? Like, yeah, like everyone say like the sport is done. Like, there's no really
yeah,
fighters right now. Like, what's your take on it right now?
man. I'm keeping 100. Like I'm a boxing fan before anything. Boxing's in a weird place right now, man. For me personally, anyway. There's a lot of great fighters out there in each weight class, but those fights aren't being set up. And then a lot of the reason why people are saying boxing is dying because MMA, like the UFC, is taking over,
Yo, yeah, for
and,
sure.
and they are. I mean, they are. I'm not. I don't watch UFC that much, but they're putting on fights people want to see.
Yeah.
They're making championship fights, and they're cranking them out, man. We got maybe two or three good boxing fights every year
Mhm.
from a fighter you may actually like.
Yeah.
And
I
I
feel
mean, there's
like
more.
boxing matches, they're like they're so like hyped up to a certain extent, then it's like a landslide.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
those
how it
fights don't
is.
deliver.
Yeah, it's just like they hype these fights up, and then it's like they're done, and like it doesn't even make the full count rounds, So it's
Right.
just like it's really simple. But the thing about it, like you said with the MMA thing, it's actually enjoyable watching a guy get
Yeah,
knocked out in one round. You're like, holy shit! Like it's like
yeah,
like we thought this was gonna be a good fight, and then boom. It's like McGregor, like no one really experienced like who knew that was
right.
gonna happen? It's like he
I
was,
didn't know.
yeah, he looked like an old man in that ring, man. Like yeah, the kid Dustin was ready, man. That was wild stuff, man.
He
But
was, man. But it's crazy though, because you got the professional fighters in boxing,
yeah,
and now you have these YouTube guys that are getting these opportunities as well,
yeah,
which is why I say boxing's in a weird place because they're trying to bring boxing back with views.
yeah. Like yeah, the guy Logan Paul, he's fighting the
Right.
guy that just got announced. I forgot that the guy's name, but that just
Um,
got announced literally today. He's fighting. Yeah, I forgot the guy's name, but then he was supposed to fight Floyd, and it's like just certain little dumb shit like that, like
right. You
just like,
know,
and then
or
the Floyd and McGregor thing. Everybody knew that was just more just all about the damn money.
that's
Which,
money. That's money right there, man. That was a
yeah,
money
man,
fight.
yeah,
But it's about the numbers. It's about the numbers, and I
yeah.
understand that. Because even when you had the Mike Tyson and Roy fight, you
Oh, yeah.
had
I honestly like
you had
that is just like the worst thing ever because like you could see it's like watching when we were watching like Rocky versus Hulk Hogan. Remember in Rocky that
right,
exhibition fight?
right,
You see
right,
how
right.
Hulk Hogan literally was like he went above and beyond what he was supposed to do.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
felt like Mike would have done that, But there
What
was
was his name?
definitely,
Thunderlips.
yeah, yeah, like there was definitely like an agreement made, like Mike, chill the fuck out, do not kill Roy, because like
Mike.
there was numerous times where like Mike could have just went for the kill, the attack, and I just felt like he was just letting Roy hit him, and it was just like it was more of a tap 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 tap. Like you see the way Mike trains, it's
Yeah,
just
man.
straight bulldog, like straight. He coming with the full punch, 100 miles per hour, and like the fact that he was sitting here like this, just playing around. I'm like, yeah, this shit is just this is really an exhibition, like a fun
Yeah.
exhibition. Like you could just
You
tell
know.
Mike was just like in his head, like I want to just bite his fucking head off on his weird
Yeah.
shit he be on, But yeah, like honestly,
I
shit
was.
like that, it's just like I can't really. I actually didn't even watch the fight. I seen it the next day because I actually thought Mike was just gonna kill him. But me
Yeah.
watching it the next day, I'm like, wow, that was the softest shit I ever seen in my life.
It
Literally, I was like,
wasn't.
yo.
It was probably underwhelming for a lot. Me, I kind of knew. I expected it to be like that. Those guys are old. I could tell Roy was getting gassed at the end, and I think Mike even said he was high as hell during that
Yeah,
fight. I
yeah,
think
yeah. Which was hilarious. Like, yeah, I wouldn't doubt that shit. Yeah.
he smoked before, and then he smoked right
Yeah.
after. Because he was talking crazy after too, bro. He was talking about he wanted to fight like 15 times a year. I'm like, bro, that's not even that many months in a year. Like, what you gonna
Yo,
do?
yeah, he's fucking hilarious, bro. He's
But but
hilarious.
but with that though, bro, because you had that fight as a main event, but then you had what was it, Jake Paul
And
fight
Nate.
on the other, yeah, Jake
Yeah,
Paul Nate
Nate. Yeah.
Robinson fight. But the crazy part was, bro, they fought above Badu Jack, who was a world champion,
Yeah.
um, professional boxer, like a very well known professional boxer. And the first fight was probably the best fight too. I forget the kid's name, but it's crazy because you have the YouTube stars on a higher
Yeah.
placement than the
Yep.
professional boxers, which I'm
Yeah.
like, man,
It's the social media,
that's
man. Social media is running
right.
everything. Yeah.
The disrespect.
Dude, and it's like, I mean, and then you have like, I mean, he's a professional boxer, but he's very big on social media, like Garcia, man. Like
That's it, yeah.
he's all over the damn Instagram, with
Right,
his little the the body punch challenge.
right.
He's going around with that and like literally like even though he's a great fighter and everything, but it's like he taking a social media thing to a higher extent, and
A
also
whole new level, man.
he has like the whole Gymshark thing behind him too. So like
Right,
that's just more like views and more attention to him and
right.
everything. But
And
yeah,
that's why they're trying to use him to bring back boxing. Oscar De La Hoya is saying he's the next big thing, which I get on a numbers wise if he does
yeah,
well, because he has everybody that follows him. Um, but I think he has to be successful in the sport, which he definitely can be. But I think he
yeah.
has a long way to go.
Oh yeah, he's still
Um,
a baby, man. He's young as hell. That's the best thing about it.
he Yeah, I they're talking about him. I keep seeing him fighting Pacquiao, man.
Yeah, that's yeah.
I
I
keep
see
seeing
that.
those
I'm like,
posters,
yeah, yeah. That's
but
just
I don't
crazy.
know. I'm just thinking though, like there's that side of boxing. Then there's like all the guys you don't really hear about. Like you got the welterweight, you got the whole like 147-pound division. You got like Earl
Yeah,
Spence. You got Terrence Crawford, Sean Porter, all them guys. You got that weight class, which is stacked of great fighters. And the heavyweights now too. You got Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. They're
yeah.
slated to
I
fight
think the
later.
heavyweight thing that's already set in stone of like who's the best in that, But
Right.
yeah,
Man,
just
hey, if they do that fight, man, I don't care what they do. I'm gonna have to go see that one. Tyson Fury and AJ. That's gonna be
yeah,
probably one of the biggest fights in boxing thus far, which I think can bring boxing back. But other than that, man, there's a lot of things I like about boxing that's going on right now, and a
yeah,
lot of things I dislike, especially with all the like exhibitions and
yeah,
the YouTube fighters, just jumping in the ranks and doing better than some of the guys that have been putting in work. So I get the idea behind it. Bring back the sport with the views and the numbers. So I get it, but at the same time, like I lived through that grind of trying to get to a point in boxing, and it's not
yeah.
easy. So um, you'll have to forgive me if I'm not all
Hey guys.
Happy about these YouTube guys.
Yeah. Like I said, they're running the game right now, man. Everything
It's
is all about the
crazy.
young guys. They're kicking the older guys right out the picture, man. It's over.
They are,
I guess that's
man.
pretty much with anything, with the sports and all that stuff. But yeah. So with the whole boxing, and then you also do personal training. So this is a big question here. Do you think boxing is more beneficial than just personal training in your sense that you've been dealing with over the years? Or do you think obviously having a personal training program is more beneficial? Like, what do you think can have more, short-term or long-term benefits for a clientele who's coming to you? Would you introduce the client to boxing due to you working out in a boxing gym? Or you just go strictly off of just being a personal trainer doing the simple personal training programs?
I'll tell you how I kind of set up my like assessments and stuff like that because I, all my clients do some form of boxing. I don't necessarily think it's more beneficial than more traditional personal training.
Yeah.
Excuse me, because I mix it in there with traditional personal training as well. Like if I have a client for an hour, I'll usually do like a good 30, 45 minutes of strength training, whatever their goal is, work on that stuff. And then at the end, we'll finish up with some boxing. Or I got some clients that do nothing but boxing. I have
Mhm.
other clients that do nothing but like strength training and conditioning. It all depends on what the client wants. But I don't really favor one. Well, I'm not gonna say that. I don't favor one as more beneficial than the other, but I say I favor doing one more than the other.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
I like boxing and doing the mitt work and stuff like that. I think that
Uh,
can be fun, depending on who you're doing it with, of course. But I have strength training I do with other clients that I like doing more than boxing. So it all really depends. Um, but I can't say boxing is more beneficial
yeah.
than typical personal training because I have my clients do both. As far as retaining stuff, I think boxing is good because you can retain that information
Much easier.
without
Yeah.
really, yeah, without really
Yep.
thinking about it. Boxing is something too that I've come to find out that you don't have to be super mobile for. Like, say you have an injury or something like that that prevents you from running, or your ankle's bothering you or something like that. And so my oldest client is he's 76 years old,
Yeah.
but he can still move around boxing fine. He's had like two hip replacements, man. He's had both shoulders replaced, and he can still box.
Yeah.
So you can still be very active in boxing without having to be too mobile. When I mean mobile, I mean like having to do crazy things like run or do
Yeah.
like side shuffles and stuff like that.
Yep.
Boxing right in front of somebody, barely moving left and right, depending on how you're moving them around. Even if you want to hit a bag too, I tell people that too. If you just want to get a good quick workout, go 8 rounds on a bag after you find out like how to really hit a bag and keep your technique up and use your body properly. You can do that. So I'd say boxing is more beneficial just in a mobile situation. You don't
Mhm.
have to be super mobile to do it. And you can start it from a young age, all the way up to, like you said, 70 or whatever, until you die.
Yeah.
As far as I know, my guy Steve said he's 76. He's not gonna stop until
Yeah.
he's probably laying in the grave or something like that.
Yeah. So you got to be
Um,
forced to sit down.
exactly. He's one of, but that could be just him too. He just
Yeah.
has one of those mindsets like, there's other cats his age that can't even move. He just,
Yeah.
he gets up, he moves. We throw in the gloves, and he's all around, man.
Cool. Cool. That's good to see, man. Um, with that statement you said about, due to the movement and it's basically like less impact, so brings less risk of injury in a sense for his personal training than boxing, but depend because we're just as far as less injury, we're just talking about just regular boxing, not professional. So with if someone wants to get into boxing, how do you feel on the risk of injuries and the the neurological effects of the sport. It's just like football. It is like, how football has this whole CTE shit that happens,
Yeah,
and effects and whatnot. Um, and you see guys like Muhammad Ali, what I'm saying? Like, the long
yeah,
term
man.
effects, I'm saying? Obviously, because when do you feel when it's like time to change the focus or change your time, due to, the taking a pounding, and like literally taking a pounding
Right, man.
with the sport.
That's an interesting one because
You said boxing
obviously,
is very mental, so it's like it gives you that drive, but it could give you a drive to a point where you become insane and not become to the reality point of it.
no, you're absolutely right, bro. Anyone that's done the sport seriously, um, you're taught that like no is never an answer. There's
Yeah,
no quit, no giving up. So, um, as far as injuries go, you're not gonna have a boxer ever really quit in the ring on you because that's just how we're kind of bred. Um, and it gets back to the point. It gets to the point where we need the coach to throw that towel in because
yeah.
it could
Just
it could
just
get
like
deadly.
Apollo, he said, whatever you do,
Exactly,
don't
man.
stop the fight.
No, you're exactly right. And I forgot about that scene because
Yeah,
that's every mindset of a boxer. Like, hey, don't stop the fight. Like I could keep going. And you see it too, even like during some of the fights, man, when the
yeah. And
ref
guys are
gets
out
in
here
there and
just
calls
like,
it
yeah,
off.
people are just like, they'll get up and like eyes are in the back of their head and the
Yep.
body's twisted this way, and it's like that's the reason why they, like I said, football is like, that's why you see like this past week, 2 weeks ago, when Mahomes he stood up and he was just like done
Yeah.
up. Then even though he ran off the field, you think you're good, but you're really not good.
You're
They'll take
not,
the whole
man.
concussion protocol and the whole neurological thing. It's like, it's so big today because, like I said, back in the 90s when boxing was like really crazy, like guys would just bang, bang, exchanging punches, and it was lovely to see. But think about
Yeah.
it, they were getting knocked down and coming back up and finishing another 8 more rounds,
Right.
just adding
Right.
more insult to injury. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, um, with that, and it's like, oh, football is just like, oh, you take a nice pop from somebody, take a blow. All right, I'm good for a good couple of series. Let me get back out there and lower my head and bang again. So
Again, man.
yeah,
And I was gonna say that I'm glad you brought football up too, and I was gonna start off saying, you can get injured in any sport, right?
yeah,
It's very common. And football is brutal. Boxing, like you were saying, the sport is, I guess, violent in nature because you're fighting somebody. Obviously,
yeah,
MMA as well. Um, but there's been, I think, I don't know, it was either last year or the year before. You know, 4 boxers died coming out the ring. Like they thought they was good. Um, I guess the one guy had like a brain hemorrhage or something like that. Went to
yeah.
the hospital, didn't
It
wake
was
up.
the one African guy.
Yeah, it was the
Yeah,
African dude.
yeah,
I got one of the guys on my feed. Oh, sorry,
yeah,
on my grid on my IG page. But
yeah.
it's just like you see stuff like that, man, and you said you think you're good, and that fight could have been stopped, maybe a round earlier, and then you wouldn't have
Mm-hmm.
had those problems. But believe it or not, though, bro, like that sounds like a lot because it is. But it's rare for that to happen in boxing. It
Mm-hmm.
just so happened it happened 4 times last year, which I think might be like a record that I've heard of.
Yeah,
But as far as like actual injury wise, head trauma is not too bad, surprisingly. But that's really the only type of trauma you get from boxing,
yeah,
besides because that's probably the most vulnerable spot of your body in
yeah.
that sport. I mean, you don't usually walk away with a broken arm from boxing
Yeah,
or,
nah.
like a broken shin. So the injury rate's actually very, very low. You get more cuts and like bruises and stuff
Yeah,
like that in boxing. But it all it takes is one though. That's the thing. It doesn't have to be a career of cuts and bruises. It can be one good shot to the head, and you might not walk out the ring.
yeah.
So I guess the chances when you're talking about like punch volume and damage taken to the head, I guess that chance of having more long-term damage is greater, but it's not a high percentage if that makes
Yeah.
sense. You know, the chance of it happening is high, but it doesn't happen that much.
Yeah.
So
I would
you
feel like
don't
some
have a
people
lot of
just like,
injuries.
depending on their the success of their career, like you have a guy who is really not excelling,
Mhm.
who's like constantly taking losses. Then we know some fighters who constantly take losses and they
Constantly.
keep trying to come back and better themselves. And just like, all right, last fight was bad, but and this time you got your ass whipped. So it's like,
Yeah.
when do you want to like come to the point like, dude, take some time off, or or is this really it? You know, it's like, you know.
Bro, that is a question I ask myself all the time because, you know, if you know anything about boxing, man, you have your prospects and then you have like your walkover fights. So, you
Yeah,
know, you'll see these prospect professionals with say they have 20 fights, 18 knockouts. Two of those fights were probably other prospects. Uh, the other 18 fights were just walkover fights, fights
yeah,
they were supposed to win. And those are the guys that are literally they're guys that wake up, go to get a check on the weekend, and walk out the ring, and that's it.
yeah,
And they take beatings, man. Like they're supposed to lose. Like they're not supposed to beat these prospects. You
yeah,
know, it's like you get a professional fighter, a good prospect who'll fight maybe 10 fights until he fights a real good opponent. Then whoever wins out of that kind of goes on to be the next big prospect. Another 10 fights, another 10 bums you walk
yeah,
through. Hey, another contender. Bang, you're fighting again. So, and that's what I don't understand, man. Them guys that put them coaches that put their fighters through that, man,
yeah,
that just getting beat. Like, I don't understand it, man. Because as a coach, you know, you want your fighter, you want to look after your fighter. That should be your first thing. Protect your fighter. And if you just throwing them in there to the wolves, uh, I think that's bad too. You know, that's where a lot of the long
yeah.
term
Just
injuries
just
come
like how
from.
like you could, like I said, I always give like, you know, little comparisons. It's like how college football, when like you went to West Virginia and then they'll set you up with like a D2 school damn near as like a home opener. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Then the score is like 70-6. Like
right.
just literally just, and that's how they do some of these boxing matches. It's like this dude literally, like this is his first fight ever, and you got a whole 10-year pro.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you know
No, it's the
what I'm
truth.
saying? Like,
There's no exaggeration to that, bro. Like you'll get that situation too sometimes. And that's man, that's unfortunately how the sport of professional boxing is, man.
yeah,
It's not the most honest of sports. I'll say, you know, as much as I love it, um, there's a system to it.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, man. So that for as far as like injuries and stuff like that, I'd say boxing isn't not as injury prone to people would think. And like you said at the beginning, man, you know, or Floyd said it as well. You know, the more you can take care of yourself in the sport, the longer you'll last. And that's what Floyd did very well. You know,
yeah,
everybody knows him as a defensive fighter and he mastered it. And, you know, he's walking around fine with
yeah.
tons of money in
Literally.
his in his
You
in
have
his in his
literally, he just
packet.
posted a picture today. He has a full beard now, bro.
I saw that, man.
I was like, holy shit.
Bro, he got hair now too. Well,
Yeah,
he
I was like,
got
he
some
has
baby
hair on
hair
his
coming
face. And I was like, yeah, that's when you know he's not fighting no more.
in.
He's
Yeah.
not he's not bald pretty boy Floyd no more, man.
No, he
He
not
grew
pretty
the
boy
facial
Floyd no
hair.
more.
He's about to be a full like tend to the kids now. Tend to the
Right,
kids
right.
and enjoy that money, millions and billions of dollars, man.
Yeah, he's earned it, man. He's earned it. Yeah, man. Boxing for you though.
Yeah. All right. So, going off the whole injury thing, like you said, you have random guys who come to you, like randomly at the gym, and they just want to spar. Like you ask them, have they ever sparred before and whatnot. So, um, we didn't really go too much in detail with it, but what do you say to them? How do you approach them? What do you lead them in the next step as far as that? You have a new client coming in, you work at the boxing gym and whatnot, and hey, I coming in, this and that. I really want to get into boxing. I want to, actually fight professionally. I want to be a pro, this and that. Like, how are you going to approach me? How are you going to prevent me from making a smart decision, trying to make something good out of it, or me just setting myself a failure and getting my ass whipped. So
Right.
there's some people literally, like I said, they don't know their reality when it comes to this boxing. When the
Right.
guys get into this stuff and get involved.
Well, like the first thing I usually try to find out is if they're serious or not. That's the biggest thing. I haven't had too many people lately since all the COVID stuff going that actually want to become a fighter. I haven't had like a walk-in coming in, ask that question in a while. But I remember when I was sparring with some of my other clients that were fighting, um, if anybody came in with that question, I would ask them to come in early Saturday morning when I would spar with them,
Mm-hmm.
um, just so they could watch, get them to watch. First, I wanted to see if they show up. If they showed up, all right, I guess this guy. Oh, it's just, man, it's crazy. And man, you know how it is, just personal training, man. People
Yeah,
say they
man.
want to train
Yeah.
until you realize they don't. Like
Like, oh, this
it's
is
the
the
same
real
thing with
thing.
boxing.
Like, oh shit,
Yeah,
this dude is getting rocked over here. I was like,
right.
yeah,
It's like you got to see if people are serious. So I'm like, man,
yeah,
come in. All right, if you come in, all right, first step, all right, you're here, you're serious. All right, this is how we do things. I'm not going to throw you in the ring, of course, but I'm like, all right, let's set up another date for you to come in. I'm not going to throw you in there right away, of course. We're going to have to get some training before I get you in there to spar.
yeah,
We got to work on our punches in general. I got to see where you at as an athlete first, and then how well you retain information. Um, you know, and just how your overall self is when it just comes to learning this stuff. Because it's just, I've trained so many people, man, and there's so many different types of athletes, and which I will say, you, being an athlete is not a requirement for boxing. All right, you don't have to be a super phenomenal athlete, but
yeah.
just seeing how you deal with the actual sport. Um, So that's the first step, just seeing if they show up, man. Seeing if they're serious. And then, I'll throw the gloves on them. We'll take everything nice and slow. We'll go in front of the mirror. We'll start off with the very basics, the jab, footwork. We won't throw more than three punches the first time just to see how
Yeah.
you deal with those three. After that, we'll introduce the next three, maybe next lesson, depending on how you handle the first three. After you get the basic form down, um, we'll maybe add in some head movement. We'll start hitting combinations and stuff like that. Then from there, we'll start training some speed, some like combos that where how I want you to throw the combos in a certain tempo. Maybe add some power in. We'll maybe do that for maybe a month,
Hmm.
month and a half. If I think they're getting to the point where they can move around and have a good head on their shoulders about sparring, then I'll introduce them to sparring. I'll say, hey, come in. Um, We'll work on everything nice and slow. We'll just start off with a jab. All right, I won't throw nothing but jabs at you. We'll see how you handle getting hit by a jab, man. Because I've
Yeah.
had I've had people get up. I've had people get up to that point. I've had people get up to that point who I've trained for maybe 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
Get up to that sparring point, and they spar for the first time. They it's not for them, man.
Yeah,
It's
like the
a whole
jab is just
different.
like it's like a repetitive thing, and it
Right,
becomes an annoyance. So it's like over and over, and
right.
it's like if you can't withstand that, it's like you're already mentally out of it. So it's
But
like,
it's a part of the process though,
yeah,
because I remember before I actually started fighting, I had to spar, of course. My first time sparring, I forgot everything, and I guarantee you, anyone that's ever trained with boxing and then jumped in the ring to spar has forgot everything that first time. It's just, it's you know how to punch, but you don't know how to actually fight yet. You don't know how to box yet.
yeah,
So that's what sparring for. We have to actually teach you how to apply all that stuff you're learning now. And people that they get so down about themselves, they curse at themselves, they get frustrated. And I'm
hmm,
like, man, it happens to everybody, it happened to me, it happened to the best of us. Coming back is what makes a boxer, not giving up. So that's the first test. That's one of the tests as well,
yeah,
having them going there, getting humbled and coming back. If they can do that, then maybe they have some potential. But there's levels to it, man. Like, all right, they can handle the pressure of boxing, but now are they actually a good boxer? You got to get to that
yeah,
level.
yeah,
So, you can have somebody that's super tough and willing to go in there, but it's like, dude, they might end up becoming one of those walkover fighters I was talking about. Just getting their ass beat because they really don't have any talent. And I've fought guys like that. Um, they just come at you. toughest dudes in the world, but they have no type of skill, and they almost lose every fight. They're
Yeah.
hard workers, uh, but it's very, very difficult for them to win a fight sometimes just because they don't have the skill. So, and it's unfortunate because, you think hard work would always get you there, but not always the case.
Yeah.
Um, so that's how I usually approach training people that are really interested in boxing.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't approach every client like that. Some people don't want anything to do with fighting, but they just want to hit the mitts, look flashy, get a sweat on, get a good workout in. So that's a whole different approach. Um, with those clients, uh, one of the first things I ask them is like, how far do you really want to take boxing? They're like, I just want to, hit mitts, workout, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then I approach it differently too because it's just like, with somebody that wants to fight, we're doing mid works and stuff like that. I throw a jab at them, they're supposed to move their head, and they don't, and they get hit.
Yeah.
My first thing I said is, "We doing it again. You better get used to that."
Yeah.
If it's a client that just wants to work out, and I hit them because they don't move their head, I feel so bad because it's not what they signed up for. It's not. It isn't. So there's a bunch of different approaches because, like I said,
Yeah.
there's levels to it, and people want to do different things. And people that don't like getting hit in the face really don't like getting hit in the
Yeah,
face.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Little pop right jab. It's like it wakes you up every time. And it's like,
Yeah, that
you
could
know,
be their last session, man. It's like I'm not
yeah,
doing this ever again. So you gotta approach it differently.
yeah, yeah,
Um, so
yeah.
yeah,
All right,
man, it's
sweet,
just
sweet. All right, so we got a real big question here. All right, so
listening. I'm listening.
who is the best fighter of all time?
Uh-oh, 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 uh-oh. You hit
Come
me
on,
with the heavy question, bro.
who is the best fighter of all time? Great.
Oh
All
man, put me on the spot like that. Let's see. So, all right, my favorite fighter is Roy Jones.
Then
That's
you got
my
you got
favorite
you
fighter.
got somebody behind you too, man, on the wall, man.
Oh, it was
You
Ali,
got him on the
man.
wall.
That's my
Oh
guy
man,
Ali. Yeah. Uh,
yo,
well, as we know, he is the self-proclaimed greatest of all time, and people will attest to that statement as well. Um, there's so many. For me, uh, that question is hard because I think different fighters are great for different things. I think
yeah.
it's hard
But
to
that's
say
like, yeah, who do you think that's like?
the
All right, so
greatest.
who is the best to you? Like, who is your best fighter? Like, who do you
My
like?
my favorite is Roy, man. I'm a Roy Jones guy.
Roy,
That's
yo,
my guy.
that's funny. That's literally funny because like growing, like I said, the '90s, Roy was the man to watch. It was we
He
grew up there.
was
Roy in the '90s was like the best thing. Like, yo, this was ridiculous.
Roy
Like,
Jones,
you
man.
know what I'm saying? And but honestly, I give you a guy to who I used to just follow. You'll probably never even think about it. My man Arturo Gotti, bro.
See, man, and like I
But
can't I can't
like
even
I
argue
feel
with
like
that,
he
man.
just never really got to his like height. Because
Hey,
this due to the competition was like I said, boxing was like rough back in the '90s, and I feel like some of his matches where it's like you gonna take this L.
yep,
It's like he was
man,
so
bro, you're
good.
not wrong.
Yeah, he just like his level of competition was like very high, and this is how I say when I bring up Tank, it's like give somebody for Tank to fight. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's just like that's the reason why I'm big on like the people you fight and stuff like that. I really don't like. Yeah, I'm gonna give credit due to the record, and you know what I'm saying it's not a lot, but a certain point was like, all right, where's this guy from?
Right.
Who
And
you heard of this guy? This is that, and it's like they're hyping the guy up and you knock him out in 3 rounds. Like, come on,
right.
you know?
That's what you gotta look at too, bro. You gotta look at the level of competition fighters have dealt with.
Yeah,
To me, Tank's last fight was his first real fight.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The guy, he gave a nice little run for his money, but I feel like it still wasn't there. It still wasn't there.
Right. He wasn't the best dude he could have fought. I want to see Tank fight. Um, put him against a Ryan Garcia. Even though I think, honestly, I don't think Ryan Garcia is at that level yet where he can
All
handle
right, you know
Tank.
who I want to see, man? Waiting for my man Tav. Tav, gotta do it.
Tav
Do
versus
it.
Tank. Put him against some real competition, man. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like measuring a fighter's success off of his resume is probably one of the first things I look for when I
Yeah,
do, when I am asked that question. Um, just like the overall career. Is that Tank to me, his first real fight was his last fight, and he had a beautiful knockout, man. It's probably one of my favorite knockouts. But
yeah,
and I
yeah,
know Tank can fight, but he hasn't been he's been able to run through his opponents up to this last point. So
yeah.
he had to dig deep and show what he can actually do. Um, and now we got AB coming back.
Oh my God, bro. That dude is, yo, he's shot out, man. He is one
Yeah,
shot out character, bro.
yeah, he really is. I'm not gonna. I enjoy watching him fight because he's one of them cats that can fight too. He can really fight when he wants to.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
When he get to
but
talk, it is, oh man.
he to me
What did
he's
he
not
say to
a.
the announcer the one time? He said something to the older guy.
I'm trying to remember because he said so much shit in his career, man.
Dude, that shit was hilarious. He said somebody he's like, oh, you could get it too. Somebody he could fight the announcer or something.
Oh,
That
oh,
had me dying laughing, bro. I wish I could pull the clip
what was
up
that?
right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah, that was probably literally an announcer. He's all right. It's like we're done here, and he cut off the damn screen. That shit had me dying
Wait,
laughing.
was that Floyd or AB?
That was Adrian Bronner, bro. That was Adrian Bronner.
All right, all right.
Yeah, yeah, that was
I have to
hilarious.
think
Man,
about that.
when we get off of here, I'm gonna definitely send you a link, man. That shit
Yeah, send
is
that to me.
prime. It's golden, man.
That shit don't surprise me though, man. AB a fool. But when he wants to fight, he can fight. But I
Yeah,
think only at a certain level though. He can
yeah.
I think when he gets to those A class fighters like
Well, shit,
Mikey,
he got like 10 kids, bro. He need to get back out here. He got
he
10
do.
kids, man. Damn near. He need to get this prize money, man.
He do, man. The court cases and stuff like that. Good thing he got rich friends, man.
That joke is wild, man. He is a wild boy.
Yeah,
Last question.
yeah. Let's get it.
Would you prime Mike Tyson growing
Uh,
up, when he was, when he was 18, 19, when he was
killer.
shotting people knockouts, take a nice counter, like a full-in counter punch from Mike Tyson in the jaw.
Man, no. No, come on. Oh my gosh. That man is I wouldn't do that
Like
now, man. This
I'm
dude.
talking like just the whole the power punch, Mike, the whole dipping in and bang, like a full pounder, just counter punch, bro.
Bro, I've watched so many of his videos and watched so many of his knockouts. Like
How much money?
I
How much money will you need to accept that?
shit, however much a new jaw would cost, man. For real. Like I all the fights I've been in, I've never been knocked out. I've been rocked a couple times though.
Yeah,
And like I remember how that shit felt
yeah,
and like how my legs felt. Like your legs turn into
yeah.
noodles. I couldn't imagine like fully getting knocked out, bro. Especially by Mike, man. Like, jeez, you talking at least $1 million, man. To take a
Yeah,
shot from
I gotta
Mike.
talk. You gotta come at me with some Floyd numbers, man. I want like 100
That's what I'm saying.
million.
That man was ending dudes too. Like,
Yeah,
because I can just picture the knockouts he was doing.
yeah,
Like he hit you in the body first, and then hit you with an uppercut right to the
yeah.
jaw. Like
I'm saying he was literally like 18 years old, putting grown ass men to
down.
bed, bro. Like it was crazy. He was literally just a wild bull, man. Just a bull.
What was that fight? What was it? Trevor Berbick. That was his championship fight.
Yeah.
Um, he had, and that's the thing, man. That's the thing where I was talking about. You seeing boxers never quitting. Trevor Berbick was a champion, so he had much more to prove.
Uh-huh.
But boy, he was getting knocked around that ring, bro.
Just
His
taking
legs was going,
just
and
taking it.
like the first time he got knocked down, like you knew, you could tell he was telling himself that I gotta get up. I'm the champ. Like you could tell that was going through
Yeah.
his mind, and he could barely stand up. And I think he made it to the I think second or third round, but it was ugly, and they
Hmm.
finally stopped it. And he wasn't going to quit, but the ref had to do it for him. So
Yeah.
them
Yeah.
fights, man.
Shit, hey, like I said, it had to be a big number for me to do that.
You said it right, man. Floyd numbers.
Huh?
You said it right. Floyd numbers, man.
Yeah, Floyd number. You gotta give me them big dollar signs, man.
Yeah,
Like the
man.
Mega
Ain't no
Million
joke.
jackpot tickets
Hell,
type, man.
for real.
You know.
Ain't
But
no
yeah,
joke, man. How
that was.
I got a question. So,
Yeah, go
like,
ahead.
and I know I've followed, I obviously follow your page and stuff like that. But like, so as far as boxing, do you introduce
Yo,
boxing and your
hold on.
clients?
Let me cut you off real quick. We got a question from Haas. We said, "What made Tyson a
Haas,
great fighter?" So let's answer that for Haas real quick.
we'll answer that for Haas, man. You want to go first? So you can give your take. I just talked your ear off, man.
Oh yeah, I give my little input on that. I feel like nobody trained the way he trained. You know, as
Yep.
far as the intensity level, like the way he trained, like if I don't know if you guys really noticed, like his practice was like a championship fight. Like the effort, all the you know the like the sweat, and it's like he literally gonna like the guys that he was sparring in practice with, like they were like nervous, like dude, I'm gonna get fucked up in practice. Like they had to tell Mike to chill out in practice, like
Yo,
you know. And think about it, and he will keep swinging and swinging and swinging and swinging until they like, all right, that's enough, you know. So
yo,
it's like the way he trained was just like a whole nother level. And like I
hey,
just don't think
crazy.
anybody really trained. Honestly, there's guys that train hard today, but I don't think this really put that much of an emphasis on the way he trained. I don't think there's
No,
anyone that trained the way he trained.
no, there no one, and that's what I was gonna say too, bro. Like
Yeah.
no one trained like him. Like you could just the amount of work he would put in, and
And he's 60 something now, whoever he is, whatever. And like he still look like he's doing it like from like he looks like he's 18 again.
hey,
The way he's moving, like the way
he
he's
looks
snapping his hips and throwing his punches counter. I'm like, yo, what the hell was that? You see
he
how
looks
fast
great.
he just turned his hips and everything. I'm like, dude, there's no way. That was saying
No,
that Roy Jones fight. I'm like, yeah, that was the most flukish thing ever. Because, yeah. And then, like I said, Mike was high as hell. So it was like, luckily Roy dodged that. Yeah, I'm saying, luckily he had a couple blunts before the damn fight, had to calm him down. Because that's probably what it was. He was probably sitting back there like, I'm gonna fucking kill Roy. I'm gonna kill him. literally, he had to do that shit, man. I'm telling you, bro.
hey, I agree with everything you said, man. And if you just look at how quick he moved for a heavyweight, obviously he was smaller, but the way he would put his combinations together, man, the speed, the power, all that stuff, there wasn't really any other heavyweight like him. And he was just running through guys that were so much bigger than him too. He was a technician.
Mm-hmm.
Head movement, footwork, all that stuff. And he was just so explosive. So, he ran through everybody. Um, and there's nobody he wouldn't fight, man. It's just, he just had his ups and downs during his career, which, ultimately I think
We
led
got
to
a
part of his
minute
downfall.
45 remaining on this. Instagram is going to cut us off.
Oh, shit, they
Yeah,
gonna cut us off?
we're coming up on our hour. We're coming up on our hour.
Here we are.
But yeah, Haas,
Hey,
like I said, the
I
way
mean,
he
that's all I got to
trained
say
is
about Mike, man.
basically, yeah, the way he trained, Haas is basically what made him a great fighter. But yeah, everybody, we're coming up on our time limit. Instagram is about to shut us off in the next minute, so we just want to give you guys a big thank
They
you,
kicking us.
and thank you guys for tuning in. This will be uploaded on our YouTube. Make sure you search us, subscribe to us, Facts into Fitness on YouTube. This full live stream will be available right after this conclusion. Make sure you go follow Fighting Comes First, Ability Boxing, and yo, hit up Cam. He still has those hoodies and those fleeces for
Getting
sale.
that merchandise out there.
Yeah, hit him up, give him a follow. Continue to follow us here on Facts into Fitness. Information is key. Results are proven, and we speaking nothing but facts. Stay
Yes,
tuned this
sir.
week. We'll have another topic drop for you guys on the next episode. Appreciate you guys. The Boost of Boxing is coming to its conclusion. We had Cam on it today, running the show with all the boxing
Yes,
questions
sir.
and input of the Boost of Boxing, how important it's becoming in our fitness industry today. Thank you guys appreciate it, and we will be seeing you on the next one.
Till next time.
All right, Cam, I get
Deuces.
that with you, bro.
All right, bro.
Peace.
Peace.